All right, shall we just get going, shall we? All right, so my name's Jordan. I am from Learn English Weekly. You've probably seen it on social media. I guess that's why you're here now. This is the first live reading, so I appreciate you joining, and hopefully it proves useful. The article that I'm going to read today, I think you can see the link in the chat if you want to follow it yourself, but I'm going to have it on the screen anyway. But the article I will share now, just so you can see it. Here we go. Okay. So the article that I'm going to read is about an author called Agatha Christie. Now, this is one of the most famous British writers of the 20th century. She's best known for murder mystery novels, and she has some very iconic detective characters. Her books have been read worldwide, translated into many languages. Total coincidence, but I was in a cafe earlier today and I saw a lady reading an Agatha Christie book. So it just goes to show they truly are worldwide. She appeared quiet and private in real life, but very imaginative as a writer. A lot of her books involved poison, deception, misdirection. So quite interesting style of writing. So what I've got prepared is this article. I will read through section by section, and I will stop at obvious points and just go through a few of the words, some of the vocabulary that's in the article. Okay? If you have any questions or any words you're not sure about, you can put them into the chat. I'm probably going to ignore it until the end, so we'll see how long the reading takes. Hopefully it doesn't take too long anyway. All right, so let us begin. There's nothing like boredom to make you write. A rare interview with the elusive Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie's murder mysteries have captivated audiences for more than a century, but 50 years after her death, she remains an enigma. A rarely heard BBC interview from 1955 reveals some of the secrets of a writer who was as complex as her plots. There we go. Okay, so Dame Agatha Christie was brilliant at hiding in plain sight. She presented herself as a genial older lady in a fur coat who loved gardening, good food, family and dogs. But behind that cozy exterior, she delighted in plotting best-selling stories of poisonings, betrayals and blood. And she offered few clues to the inner workings of her ingenious mind. Christie was chronically shy, but in 1955 she was persuaded to give a rare interview in her London flat for a BBC radio profile. In it, she revealed how an unconventional childhood fired her imagination, why writing plays was easier than writing novels, and how she could finish a book in 3 months. Born Agatha Miller into a prosperous family in 1890, she was mostly homeschooled. When asked why she took up writing, Christie said, "I put it all down to the fact that I never had any education. Perhaps I'd better qualify that by admitting I did eventually go to school in Paris, when I was 16 or thereabouts. But until then, apart from being taught a little arithmetic, I'd had no lessons to speak of at all. Okay, so in this first paragraph, in this first section, there's a selection of unusual vocabulary. So I'm going to go through some of them bit by bit. So, captivated. This is holding somebody's attention. Very common collocation. To captivate an audience, to captivate a reader. Enigma. This is an interesting one. This is a noun, a person or a thing that is mysterious or difficult to understand. This is very IELTS friendly, abstract noun. Rarely heard. Over here. Rarely heard. This is an adjective phrase. Not often spoken about or listened to. It's good for passive style, descriptive phrases. Let's see. Complex. I think this is quite an easy one. Adjective, having many parts, not simple. Complicated is a synonym, I would expect. Genial. Adjective, friendly and pleasant. Nice and easy. A bit more precise than just nice. Cozy exterior. A warm, comforting appearance that may hide something else. She delighted in. So clearly she got pleasure from this thing, took pleasure in doing something. Betrayals, acts of being disloyal or unfaithful. Inner workings. Inner workings is the hidden processes or thoughts behind something. And ingenious, very original, clever, inventive, ingenious mind. Chronically shy. Now this is quite unusual. When you hear chronically, I mean this is an adverb plus an adjective. It sounds very serious. So shy over a long period of time. Normally when you hear chronically it's to do with illness actually. So chronic illness is a long-term illness. So chronically shy, she's shy her whole life or for a long period of time. Persuaded, when you convince somebody to do something. Prosperous. This is money, wealthy, financially successful. Homeschooled. I don't know how common this is in Taiwan. I know it exists, but yeah, this is obviously not attending school in the traditional sense. But yeah, maybe you have a tutor at home or your parents provide you with some education. All right, that's enough for now. Let's move on. Just check here. Everything okay? All right, so Christie described her childhood as gloriously idle, but she had a voracious appetite for reading. Voracious, normally an insatiable, extremely strong desire to do something. Appetite for reading. I found myself making up stories and acting the different parts, and there's nothing like boredom to make you write. So by the time I was 16 or 17, I had written quite a number of short stories and one long, dreary novel. Dreary, dull, boring, depressing. She said she finished writing her first published novel at the age of 21. After several rejections, The Mysterious Affair at Styles was published in 1920, introducing her most famous creation, Hercule Poirot. Poirot? Or Poirot? That's a difficult one even for me. The poisoning murder method that she chose for the story came straight from her personal experience during World War I. While her husband, Archie Christie, was deployed in France, she worked on the home front as a volunteer nurse in a hospital for wounded soldiers. She became an assistant in the hospital pharmacy, which gave her an understanding of medicines and toxins. Toxins is another word for poisons. In her stories, poison is used in 41 murders, attempted murders, and suicides. The real work is done in thinking out the development of your story. Agatha Christie. Christie's typical formula begins with a closed circle of suspects from the same social world and a murder that generates clues, leading to a climactic confrontation. At the center is a private detective, such as Poirot or Miss Marple, who unravels the mystery and reveals the truth to the group in a dramatic final scene. This structure, familiar yet endlessly adaptable, is part of what makes Christie's work so enduring. In 1926, she published The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, a book that cemented her professional reputation even as her personal life unraveled that year. Her beloved mother died, and Archie confessed he had fallen in love with another woman. He asked for a divorce. Struggling with grief and writer's block, Christie herself became the subject of a mystery. On a cold December night, her crashed car was found at a desolate Surrey beauty spot, balanced precariously over a chalk quarry. Police found her fur coat and driving license in the car, but there was no sign of her. Interesting. Alright, so let's go through some of these words. Where are we? Right, so gloriously, I saw that straight away. Gloriously idle, it said. This is happily doing nothing, free from obligations. Voracious appetite, like I said earlier, this is an extremely strong desire to do something. Normally, you hear this to do with actual appetite, not this metaphorical appetite for reading. Making up stories is a phrasal verb, so just inventing stories. Here, so there's nothing like boredom to make you write. So quite often you might hear the fixed structure of there's nothing like something to make you write. So there's nothing like appetite to make you look for food, for example. Dreary, said that one already as well. Extremely boring or dull or depressing. Published, made available to the public. Rejections, refusals or failures, something not accepted or not successful. Deployed. So this is in reference to her husband being sent to France. So he was sent to work or to serve, especially in the military. You'll hear this phrase. So soldiers might be deployed into different regions or different areas around the world. She worked on the home front. So this is a noun phrase, and it's civilian life during a war. So the home front is, yeah, you're serving in the war effort, but from home, basically. You're not fighting on the front line. Volunteer, I think we all know this. This is just doing work without receiving any payment. Toxins, I mentioned this as well. Poisons or poisonous substances. Okay, all right, let's keep going then. Okay, so one of Britain's biggest ever missing person searches was launched. The story had all the markings of a tabloid sensation. The celebrated crime novelist who had disappeared, leaving a trail of tantalizing clues. Tantalizing, lovely word. This is normally this is to do with strong attraction to something, attracting interest. Yeah, great word. Anyway, tantalizing clues. The 7-year-old daughter left behind, and the handsome husband entangled with a younger lover. Even Sherlock Holmes author Sir Arthur Conan Doyle got involved, hiring a psychic to connect with Agatha via one of her gloves. Oh, wow. Travels in the Middle East. 10 days later, she was discovered 230 miles from the crash site at a hotel in Harrogate, North Yorkshire. Nice. Yorkshire is a region in the UK. Theories abounded. Let's see if we can find that. No. Theories abounded. Had her disappearance been between the result of memory lost, a calculated attempt to embarrass her husband, or even a publicity stunt? Christie chose not to clear up the mystery in her autobiography, writing only, "So after illness came sorrow, despair, and heartbreak. There is no need to dwell on it." She was similarly matter-of-fact when it came to the secrets of her working style. Telling the BBC in 1955, "The disappointing truth is that I haven't much method. I type my own drafts on an ancient, faithful machine I've owned for years, and I find a dictaphone useful for short stories or for recasting an act of a play, but not for the more complicated business of working out a novel." Let's skip this little section. In 1930, Christie married Max Mullowan, an archaeologist 14 years her junior, 6 months after meeting him during a trip to Iraq. With their shared passion for ancient cultures, the couple's travels in the Middle East informed stories such as Death on the Nile, which was first published in 1937. Her newfound happiness seemed to have a profound effect on her work. Over the next 9 years, she would write 17 full-length novels. For Christie, the main pleasure of writing came from devising her ingenious plots. She said, "I think the real work is done in thinking out the development of your story and worrying about it until it comes right. That may take a while. That may take quite a while. Then when you've got all your materials together, as it were, all that remains is to try to find time to write the thing. 3 months seems to me quite a reasonable time to complete a book, if one can get right down to it. In the 1955 radio profile, theatre impresario Sir Peter Saunders, who produced her runaway hit play The Mousetrap, said Christie had a remarkable gift for creating fully formed scenes and stories in her head. I said to her once, "How's the new play going?" "It's finished," she told me. But when I asked if I may read it, she replied so disarmingly, "Oh, I haven't written it." From her point of view, the play from beginning to end had been worked out to the last detail. The writing of it was an act of mere physical labour. That view was backed up by Penguin Books founder Sir Alan Lane, who said that in 25 years of close friendship, he had never once heard the click of her typewriter, in spite of the astonishing quantity and quality which she steadily produces. He said that whether organising day-to-day camp work on a Mesopotamian desert expedition or doing needlework in the evenings, while she was doing all these manifold things, some new Agatha Christie play or novel was being worked out in her mind. I'm sure you guys have heard of Penguin Books, by the way. It's probably one of the most famous book publishing companies in the world. While Christie believed that a book could be polished off in 3 months, she said that plays were better written quickly. At the time of the BBC's 1955 profile of Christie, 3 of her plays were running in London's West End. The Mousetrap was already breaking box office records just 3 years after its premiere. The play began as a BBC radio drama titled 3 Blind Mice, broadcast in 1947 as part of an evening of programmes celebrating Queen Mary's 80th birthday. Writing plays was much more fun than writing books, according to Christie. She said, "You haven't got to bother about long descriptions of places and people, or about deciding how to space out your material. And you must write pretty fast to keep in the mood and to keep the talk flowing naturally." Just check everything's alright. The UK's longest running play. In 1973, Christie attended a 21st birthday celebration for The Mousetrap at London's Savoy Hotel. Also in attendance was its original leading man, Richard Attenborough, who predicted it could run another 21 years. He added, "I won't put it in the same class as St. Paul's Cathedral, but certainly the Americans decide that the thing to do if they come to London is to go and see The Mousetrap." Having become the UK's longest running play in 1957, the only thing that could stop it was the COVID pandemic in 2020. In March 2025, it celebrated its 30,000th performance and is still running today. Attenborough was also interviewed in the 1955 BBC profile, where he said that Christie was just about the last person in the world you would ever think of in connection with crime or violence or anything blood-curdling or dramatic. Summing up her enduring mystery, he said, "We just couldn't get over the fact that this quite quiet, precise, dignified lady could possibly have made our flesh creep and fascinated people all over the world with her mastery of suspense and her gift for creating on the stage and the screen such an atmosphere of terror. While Christie's BBC interview gives us a fascinating glimpse of her writing methods, the lack of rigid technique, the resilience on imagination, the joy of plotting, the enigma of the woman herself lives on. Excellent. So there we have it. A lovely article about one of the most famous British authors. So obviously there is a huge amount of vocab there. I hope you understood most of it. I did make a long list of vocabulary to discuss with you, just in case. But let me just go through the third paragraph. So there was lots to mention. So a missing person search. This is obviously a noun phrase, and it's an organized effort to find someone who has disappeared. You can see that here. Biggest ever missing person searches. When it says launched as well, here the verb, it means officially started. Okay. Here, had all the makings of. This is a fixed phrase, and it means it contains all the elements needed for something to happen. Okay. Tabloid sensation. This is a story heavily covered in popular sensational media. Celebrated, widely admired or famous. Leaving a trail of tantalizing clues. So leaving a series of signs or clues. Tantalizing clues, like I said earlier, clues that strongly attract interest but don't fully explain. Here, the handsome husband entangled with a younger lover. Entangled with is a verb phrase, so involved in a complicated or inappropriate relationship. Let's see, even this Sherlock Holmes author got involved. Got involved, phrasal verb, began participating in. Just to be clear, I don't believe in psychics. Don't know how that could have worked. Anyway, psychics, for reference, is a person who claims to have supernatural abilities. So, hiring a psychic to connect with Agatha via one of her gloves. Via means through, somehow, one of her gloves. Quite a confusing sentence, to be honest. Let's move on. Theories abounded. What an interesting phrase there. So that's a noun. Theories abounded, verb. So many theories existed or circulated. A calculated attempt. This is a planned or deliberate action. Definitely high band language there. Publicity stunt. So this is quite a common phrase. This is a noun phrase, but it's to do with an action designed to attract public attention. I guess this is used in marketing, actually. Here it says she chose not to clear up the mystery. Clear up means to explain or resolve the uncertainty around the event. She was similarly matter of fact when it came to the secrets of her working style. Matter of fact means very calm, practical, unemotional. Working style as well. What does that link to? Oh. Working style is the way somebody approaches their work. Drafts. This is the early versions of written work. An ancient, faithful machine. So ancient, very old. Faithful, in this context, reliable. And machine, equipment. Recasting, rewriting or reshaping something. And complicated business. So this is a noun phrase. A difficult or complex task. Her newfound happiness. So newfound, newfound happiness is an adjective phrase here. So recently discovered happiness. And it had a profound effect on her work. Profound effect, a deep and significant impact. Devising, I saw that. Devising. Inventing or planning carefully. Okay, I could keep going and going for a long time, so maybe I can ask anybody here, are there any words that you are not sure about that you have seen in this article? Otherwise, I'll just finish my list and then we'll call it a night. Give you a chance. I think you can write. Yeah. I'll keep going through the remainder that I've got then. So polished off is a phrasal verb, completed quickly or efficiently. A runaway hit, an unexpectedly huge success. Fully formed, adjective, complete and detailed in the mind. Disarmingly, so this adverb is describing in a way that removes suspicion or tension. And mere physical labor. So this is just work requiring effort, but not much creativity. It's a great contrast phrase, actually. Astonishing quantity and quality, noun phrase. This is a surprisingly large amount and a high standard. Normally, one suffers at the expense of another. So you don't normally hear quantity and quality together. Manifold things. So adjective and noun here, many different activities. Flesh creep. So that's definitely an idiomatic expression. That's to cause fear or discomfort. Let's scroll down a little bit. A mastery of suspense. An exceptional skill in creating tension. Rigid technique. A fixed, inflexible method. Inflexible. So this has the prefix in there. Flexible means it can bend and move and adapt. So yeah, rigid technique is an inflexible method. And reliance on imagination, so depending heavily on creativity. And the last part, lives on. So this is a phrasal verb, to continue to exist or be remembered. So that's all I've got listed. Are there any other words that you've heard tonight, this evening, that you're not sure about, that you want to ask about? If there's none, then we're going to finish off there.
Can I ask a word, a definition of a word?
Oh, you got your mic on. I didn't even know that was possible. Go on, hit me. I thought I turned that setting off, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
You've hacked it.
Can I ask, I think this second paragraph,
Okay.
atom, oral. The third line, there's a, no, sorry. I mean, on the previous,
Oh,
yeah, the UK's longest running play, yeah. So the second paragraph, and line 3, anything blood curdling. I'm not sure if you had explained that, but I'm not sure about blood curdling.
okay, so blood curdling. I mean, there's a literal sense, but then the metaphorical sense that they mean here. If something curdles, it's like milk going off, and it turns from a liquid into not a solid, but that kind of state in between where it's getting thick and lumpy, and it's obviously something quite disgusting. This is what happens when, you know, when blood starts to dry, and I've forgotten the exact word that it's would be appropriate for that. But anyway, in this context, it means terrifying, basically. If something is blood curdling, it's extremely scary and terrifying.
Oh, I see. I thought it was like cuddling, you know, but now I understand. I thought it was like
blood cuddling. That would be a challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, that's good. Now I've learned that I need to turn off mics. Not that was a problem. I enjoyed that one. But yeah, cool. All right, let's call it a night then. It's almost 10 p.m. Time for us all to relax. So hope that proved useful. This will be running every week. I'll pick different articles each time. They might be on the Learn English Weekly website directly. Pardon me. Or it could be from the BBC or from the British Council website. There's a variety of different websites with useful IELTS appropriate articles. And of course, if you guys have any suggestions, you can message me. You can email. You can reply to the email that you got to access this live session. You can message on Threads. You can message on Instagram. So lots of options. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. And I'll see you next time. So see you later, guys.